Hey, Tim Holstad, singer-songwriter. Appreciate your stopping. Today's video is going to be kind of a mixture of little stories and anecdotes around a central principle, which is something I found to be true anyway, many times in this life, and I'm going to illustrate that today. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I don't know why it works that way. I couldn't tell you how. I can tell you, though, from experience that that's the way it works. Um, if I look back on this musical journey, it's just happened again and again. Mom and her parents, they wanted us to be musical, and it turned out that I actually had a gift for it. And as I was a kid growing up, there was always a teacher to be found. You might say, well, the student really wasn't ready because he wasn't very eager about this, was he? But there were times where it was okay and it worked, and this preparation that I had as a kid was really important later on, which we'll get to. But I remember just having this life, it was always intertwined with music somehow. Um, there were a few years here and there of piano. When I got into the age where the school band is a factor, there was obviously that test where they came to us in third grade and somebody played us 20 pairs of notes and tell us which ones are the same, tell us which ones are different, and I got that 18 out of 20 right, and the band was interested, and so I went into playing in the band. They had all these extra trombonists, but they needed somebody to play baritone horns, so that's what I did for a few years. And fast forward to high school, and they need a bass guitar player for the pep band that plays the basketball games. And Mom had that short scale bass guitar that she'd been trying to play for a little while. It's still around, and so I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And the guy whose place I was taking, who had graduated, showed me a little bit, and then, I still needed to get better. I needed a teacher, and, well, it just so happened that there was a store that we had gone to, Mom and I, to get music I needed for a solo performance with the band on the baritone horn. We went back to the store, and it turned out that the staff had a guy who played bass for a couple of decades and got sick and tired of playing 3 and 4 notes a song. So he devised his own style of bass playing, which he then taught to me and encouraged me to try and outdo myself every time I played. And that was just really, really amazingly helpful to me. And it helped me to develop my own style. And that was the first efforts of doing that, and that was very critical as a singer-songwriter, as a musician, especially nowadays. It was happening then where synthesizers hit. This is the mid-'80s, and early mid-'80s, and everybody who did things like drums, bass guitar, horns, you were worried about being synthesized out. So it was really important to develop your own style. And I had a teacher who was really good and was able to help me to see how to do that. And so that was great. Obviously we've talked about the college story. And you might say, well, gee, you had to go to college. It wasn't a choice. But the thing about it is that granted, I'm going into this, still makes me laugh. I'm going into this classical curriculum, right? And I really wasn't prepared. I hadn't had that kind of training. What I had to prove was that I had played the instrument I was going to play going into college, what I wanted to major on. Originally, I wanted to major on bass guitar because that was my instrument, but I remember meeting with the dean of the college, and he says, we can't you can't do that. We don't have a curriculum for it. We can't accommodate you that way. You're going to have to try something else. So I had been prepared enough that I went back to my old piano tunes and dusted some off, and I go into this I go into this audition with the faculty, and I'm sure they're expecting to hear Bach or Beethoven or Mozart, and I'm playing things like To a Wild Rose or Pomp and Circumstance, and just tunes that I'd learned over time. And I'm sure they had their doubts. It was written all over their faces, but they let me in. I had enough teaching to prepare so that I was ready when I had to be, so I could get into that college. And so here I am. I wanted to get back into keyboards. I really needed to learn how. And so here was this golden opportunity, and I had enough. Here was this chance to learn like the classical composers learned, and really tear apart how Western music is put together, music theory, ear training, learning it all on the keyboard where all the notes are there and you can see it all. That was priceless to me, just priceless. And I had this opportunity, and I had prepared enough so that I could get it. But again, I was ready for this. I was looking for it. The opportunity came. There was enough preparation there that I was able to get in, and I had this training, which again, it was priceless. And granted, yes, I kind of fell off the face of the earth after college because I had nowhere to go with it, but even then, I wanted to try and get better at guitar, and I'm married to somebody I shouldn't be, and still there was this opportunity to check back with the place that I had learned how to play bass at, and another guy on the staff there was a really good guitar player, and I could learn from him, and I could get better. And as it turned out, I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm going to have to do it myself, it seems. And ultimately, that's the way it worked. And to learn how to play my instruments, plural, well enough, because I had to do all the parts. Again, you've got to learn. You've got to take the time. You've got to seek out these teachers, and you have to be ready. You have to be teachable so that when you do find them, you learn. For example, doing those albums. I don't play drums, but I can play a keyboard and make it sound like I'm playing drums with the sounds that they're in there. What saved me, what allowed me to do the albums, was the fact that I could play keyboards. Am I as good as all these people I went to school with? No, not even close. But what I can tell you is that I play them well enough that I can write on them, and I can do the things I want to do. And yes, I want to get better, and we'll keep working at that end. But there are 2 albums out now, and we can go from there. But obviously the situation didn't really work out with my ex, and I ended up marrying again somebody who was a little more supportive, but obviously it didn't turn out very well because she couldn't support what I had to do. She just didn't have it in her to do it. Too many other things. But while this is going on, I had the chance to run into somebody else. We had to move at one point, and I'm tossing some stuff out on the curb, and there's this guy that walks up and says, "Hey, do you mind if I take some of this? There's a person I know who could use it. It's baby stuff." And it's like, fine, we're just tossing it, go for it. And he happens to say, it was really weird, just out of the blue, say, "By the way, are you into music?" Well, yeah. And so I just this chance meeting led me into the band that I've talked about at different times. And we'll talk about more in other videos, I'm sure, where they're playing all kinds of things like jazz, fusion, and rhythm and blues, and funk and soul, and all this stuff I'd never played before. But it was a tough experience, but it was a great experience because I had to get out there and had to play. Had to do it, had to actually do it, not just talk about it, actually do it. and eventually had to sing, had to do all this. And so it was really good that way, really helpful that way. Again, it was another awesome opportunity to learn, and sometimes we learn by doing, and this was a great chance to do that. So, I had a chance in this time to play with my own brother. We tried to play together for a while, and again, that was learning by doing, and it really was helpful. But I was looking for it, and at that point, when you're looking for it, it comes to you. It's just kind of crazy how that works. Now, obviously, things did not work out, and I find myself, again, having lost everything. And down in the ashes, I made myself a vow that no matter how bad things got, no matter what I went through, I would never, ever, ever, ever again turn away from what I had to do. I accepted what I was. I accepted who I am, a singer-songwriter. I happened to be one of those 1 in 3 musicians who writes lyrics, and I had to accept that, okay, if you're going to do it, you probably got to do it yourself. And so I'd had all this training where I could, and then I had this opportunity. Having made this vow, there was this letter that came in the mail. I got an invitation to join a book club, which helped me to learn a lot of other things that I needed to learn about myself, develop myself, discipline myself, discipline my time. And it gave me a lot of opportunities because people learned, oh, you write songs. Can you write a song for us? That happened more than once, and it led to other things, and it led to a lot of cross-country trips that I'm sure I will talk about in other videos. Chances to do 2-hour shows of entirely my own material, which was just great. But again, you've got to avail yourself of the opportunities that come, and you have to make yourself teachable, and when you are, that's when these things show up. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I look at just the albums in 24. I could get close in terms of professional quality, but I couldn't quite get there. I needed somebody to master them. And one of my old bandmates said, hey, why don't you go to the studio that we were rehearsing in? They can do this stuff. And sure enough, I was able to speak to a guy there who was very good at this and was very helpful to me and helped me to make that difficult decision to release the albums, to let them go out into the world, to finally say, okay, it's not perfect, but it's time to let it go. And that was, again, very priceless to me. That's where what you could go to the website now for timholstad.com, just my name, lowercase, and you've got that Spotify link. That's what you're going to hear, those 2 albums. And, if you enjoy it, tell your friends and all that. If you want to buy it, wonderful. But obviously keep going. We have to keep going. And when we are teachable, that's when the teacher appears, when we're ready. And that's when doors begin to open. And, you look back at last year. Well, okay, 2024 is past. I had to market. I had to learn how. Nothing's happening on the website. Nobody's buying the albums. I guess I need to market so that more people know about them. And there's a night I can't sleep, and I come across this course, and here we are. Here we are today doing this posting. And I had to learn in this year. I had to learn all these ways to work with video. I'd learned how to work with audio, but I needed to synchronize the two. I needed to learn to work with video so I could do this marketing, all this social media stuff that requires video. And I had that opportunity because I was ready. The teacher appeared. It's happened so many times. Well, I suppose we should probably wrap this up for today. But just keep in mind, if you're looking for something, whatever it is you do, are you teachable? Because when you are ready, when you, the student, are ready, that is when the teacher appears. It just happens. I can't tell you how, I can't tell you why that works. I've just seen it in my life that that's the way it happens. But anyhow, feel free to like and subscribe. That would be wonderful. Feel free to check out the website, even better. And feel free to tell your friends. That'd be great. But like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Appreciate your stopping by. We'll see you in the next one.